Oh no! I've had my mic turned off for this whole time. Ah. Oh dear. Oh well. And I can't actually see. I couldn't see my screen, so yeah. How come? Why is that not focused? All right, there you go. Now it's focused. Thanks, Yosh. I was not paying any attention. I had muted my mic earlier and forgotten to turn it back on. Oh. Okay. So. Well, I guess the first one was kind of an ASMR thing then. Oh yeah, I need to bring the volume down on there. There we go. That might bring... I need to bring the volume on the music down. That might work. There we go. All right. Well, let's get this one going now. Why does that feel? That feels like that one just wants to scooch all over the place. Like it's just... Don't know. All right. Get a little squirt with the new Stickum. There we go. Make sure my mic is actually somewhere near me. There we go. Okay. All right, so we got our mold ready. We got our scale. Get that going here. Yeah. Okay. Get a little part B. And a little more part B. There we go. And then we're going to get ourselves a little bit of retarder. And again, this is for order number 591. This is going to be a gibless in A10. This is going to be a cotton candy. So this is pink, yellow, and blue. Yes, it is gibless day today. I actually have 3 gibless to do. All right, so double check myself. I have what I need in my hand. I have part A, and I need 90 grams. I need some more part A. I need 30 grams. Here we go. All right, now we'll give that a good stir. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Sometimes these orders just come in batches where they're just like this is weird. I got 3 gibless orders that are all A10s, but they're all different colorways. So it's very odd. Anyway, okay. Get that. Make sure that's nice and mixed. Did I get the marble effect down? I did not get the effect that I wanted down. I did a pour earlier. We'll see if it's ready by the time we get done with these pours. It may or may not be ready. I don't know if you can see it. That green and white one there. Poured that at about an hour 15. About an hour and 15 minutes ago, something like that. It might be ready to pull by the time we get done with all 3 of these. So if that's the case, then we'll pull that. What is this? I need 80 grams. There we go. There's the first one. Got a lot of jibber jabber going on. I'm losing my place. All right. So here's our yellow. I need to refill this. But okay. Just a nice golden yellow that has a bit of a white shimmer to it, pearlescent kind of thing. It's just a nice color. All right, let's get this blue. I don't need the scale anymore. A little bit more. I do need a little bit of white to go with this one. Not much, just a bit. Just a little bit. I mean tiny. Not much. Just a little bump, as they might say. A little bit more intensity there. Let's saturate that coat a little bit. go. One thing about this white is, in here is that we're not really trying to desaturate this color too much. All we want to do is we're trying to give it just a little bit of opacity. That's what we're going for on this one. Yeah, something like that. Now then, last color we need is this pink. We need just a bit of white, desaturate, give that a little bit of opacity on this one. And desaturate it, because this pink is pretty intense. All right, I'm gonna get ready to drop these in the vacuum chamber. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I will answer them while we are vacuuming these. All right. And Michael over on TikTok asking, what pigments do I use? Generally, I use mica-based pigments from TKB Trading. And actually, these that are in the bottles, I mix these with silicone thinner because these too have a tendency to clump. So I mix them with silicone thinner, and that way I don't have to worry about them clumping up on me. And Yosh over on YouTube asking, by far, what is your most popular model and which color tends to be the most ordered? Most popular model? That's a tough one because I think it's pretty even across between the Metropole, the Strupula, and the Parabolica. Those three are pretty even. As far as colorways go, the Aurora, one we just poured, purple, teal, and black, that one by far is the most popular. Yeah, you're welcome, Michael. Oh, shoot. I grabbed the wrong pink. I grabbed the wrong pink. Yep. So this is going to be, well, this is going to be a, what are we going to do here? What are we going to do? Get that one. This one. 240 grams. That's enough for a Metropole, but not a Parabolica. But we can do a Mako. We'll do a Mako. Yep, I grabbed the wrong pink on that one. So we're going to do this on the fly. we're going to change out. This is actually a model that hasn't been released. Technically has been released. It hasn't. It's that you can't order this model. It occasionally goes in the store, but you can't actually order this particular model. You can just find it occasionally. Okay, how are we doing here? We are pretty good shape, but I only have 3 gibless molds. So, yeah, we're gonna have to make sure that we roll this. Yep. Okay. Now, Saturnalia is too big for the amount of silicone that I've got. This is 240 grams. Saturnalia and Parabolica are both too big. But the Mako will work for this. So, yeah. How are we going to do this? And we're going to just do some weird pour on this one. This one's just going to be a big old mess. I say that. It's not going to be a mess, but it is going to be a little bit weird. So this is not for order number 591 because I messed up and grabbed the wrong pink. But, oops, I need to do one thing real quick. Need to straighten out my mold real fast. There we go. Okay. All right, here we go. This is actually going to be really pretty. Wow, that actually is really pretty. Damn, that's pretty. Yeah, I'm actually rather pleased. I got a little extra here. I'll throw it off into a squishy mold. But I'm also going to have to pay attention to how I put those in the cup here, because there's actually the pour pattern on that actually really pretty. Ooh, that one is going to be, I think that one's going to be pretty when it comes out. That one, I really do. I really think that one's going to be pretty. Okay, so we'll put that off to the side. Now then, we get to do number 591 again. This time we're going to use the correct pink. It's this pink. That yellow. And this blue. All right. Tell you what, give me a second. I'm going to go grab my this yellow real quick. KB Trading. This is Shimmer Lemon Pop. All right, so we're going to redo that one. Got the memorized by now, so we're all good. Grab my mic. All right, now I got the mic back on. Okay. retarder. We just start off with some part B. We're going to add a couple grams of retarder in here. And we're going to give that a little stir. Okay. There we go. And yeah. We have about 80 grams here. There we go. Scale out of the way. Grab ourselves some of this yeller. Okay. Now then, we're going to use the correct pink this time. There we go. That's a nice pink. All right. And we're going to give ourselves that blue. Okay. All right, into the vacuum chamber. By the way, this is a good time if you got questions. Boop, boop, ba-doop, boop, ba-doo. Yosh, no, the pink in this case is just fine. The pink that I grabbed earlier is a fluorescent, and so it needs to be desaturated, and it needs some opacity. So here's the deal: is this pink, this fluorescent pink, is so bright that I have to water it down with silicone thinner, and I have to water it down so much that it reduces its opacity, and it's kind of weird. It's like it's so intense that I have to water it down with thinner in order to control how bright it is, but that also reduces its opacity. So then I have to come back in with some white to increase its opacity. But this pink is actually nice and opaque. And I don't have to do anything to this to keep it from clumping. I don't have to water it down, nor do I have to worry about its intensity. So yeah, there are two reasons why I water this down with thinner. It's because it has a tendency to clump, but also it's an extremely intense pink, and so I have to cut it. I'm experimenting with TikTok Live today. Awfully quiet. Not a whole lot going on over there. All right, let's get her done here. Okay. Oh. This one's running all over the place on me. All right, let's roll it. Let's see what happens here. The blue just ran right to the front. That's one of the things about these is that every one of them is unique. Every one of them wants to do things differently. Occasionally, entropy wins, you know? All right. There we go. Scooch those to the back. And that was order number 591. Yep, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok Live, doing all the things. I don't know, what else could I do? I could do Twitch also, but I'm not a real fan of Twitch. Okay, that was order number 591. Last one, order 096. 096. 096. Again, we got a Gibless A10. Gonna give them a little spritz with the no stick 'em. Oh yeah, Instagram. I do have another phone. I could do an Instagram. I have a feeling that TikTok is throttling me. I have a feeling they're keeping me from being seen. The last time I did a TikTok live, I got shut down. Okay. Let's see. How are we doing over here? Our minty fresh Metropole back there is not ready yet, which is odd because it's been almost 2 hours. So, all right, last one here. I gotta clean out some cups. I had everything set up, but I made that mistake. So that put me behind. Well, I ended up using some of my, I ended up using stuff. I need to go restock the paper towels. Be back in just a second. Sorry for the mic noise there. Bo Phallus, what are they doing? Are they doing Instagram? Are they doing, or did they get shut down on TikTok? I know MFA lost their TikTok account a while back. MFA lost their Twitter account too. And by the way, I know it looks like, well, you guys can't see it, can you? It looks fairly organized from what you can see, but I'll show you. I know it looks kind of like a mess back here, completely disorganized. But the thing is, it's organized. There is actually a method to this madness. Each of these has their cups with the molds so that I know exactly which molds go, or which cups go with which molds. And that way, if I have to do any testing, troubleshooting later, I know exactly what cups went with each mold. Whew. All right, let's get her done here. All right. And get this out of my way. Here's the thing. I have a friend who knows some folks who work for a social media company, and they won't tell me which one, but so this is kind of secondhand information, so you can take it for what it's worth. But oops, that's going to be almost exactly. All the social media companies have certain policies, and they're fairly, from what I can tell, they're fairly consistent. And there are specific carve-outs for specific things. Education is one of them. And context matters. So if you can establish that education is happening and that the context is, educational or artistic, then that can go a long way to keeping you from getting, shut down or having stuff removed. I've used every time I post something on Twitter, every picture I post on Twitter gets slapped with a sensitive content warning, and I appeal it every time. And I'm running about 95% or better success rate at getting those warnings removed, because I argue I argue what the context is, which is this is educational, it's artistic, it's a creation by me, and that there's nothing lascivious about it. And I'm winning, 95, 97% of all of my appeals. There's only been like one or two that I've not won. All right, come on. Just a little bit more. There we go. Just a scooch more. There we go. Okay, so we got part A and part B in here. We got our retarder. We got everything we need. We're going to segment this out for our 3 colors. And by the way, this is for order number 096. Oops. Almost tripped over my mic cord. Refill my mixing sticks. Do. By the way, this is a Dewy Skies. So we need white. White is going to go right here in the middle. I say the middle. You know it's the middle, right? I know it's the middle. You know it's the middle. This one's going to be in the middle. All right. And remember our old friend, Fluorescent Pink? He's back. Yeah, my designs do tend to be more abstract, and that was intentional. Um, you know, there are a lot of places you can go to find very um, representational, realistic styles, and I didn't want to compete in that area. But my designs are phallic enough to get some attention. Twitter is pretty aggressive about it. Surprisingly so. I used to never get tagged with anything. And then over the last couple of months, just been getting those sensitive content warnings constantly. A little bit more opacity here. Okay. Okay. Gonna get this in the vacuum chamber, and we're gonna get her done. This is a Dewy Skies Giblets in A10. Yes, you're starting to learn my patterns. The big cup is always the one that everything goes back into. Any questions? There's a pattern. Yeah, Yosh. There's a pattern. There's there's a structure and a pattern, and I do try to stick to them. I like my things structured. All right, how we doing here? You done? We're done. Now, a couple weeks ago, somebody asked a question about pigments and some settling, or if I had any problems with things like that. I want to show you something here in just a minute after I get this pour done. The pink, yellow, blue one that I poured, I want to show you that one. The one that is actually for order number 591, I want to show you the bottom of that one real quick because there's something interesting happening in the base. Okay. Go. Get ourselves moved around here a bit. All right. Get this done in one smooth pour. All right. There we go. Again, that was for number 096. Okay. I want to pull this one back out. This one is doing some interesting stuff. And I can tell you why it's doing it, but I don't know what the result is going to be. Look at this. what's interesting let's see. Let's go back here. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So the question, yeah, Yoshi's kind of doing it in the chat there, but so here's something that is kind of interesting, is that the how do I put this? So the blue pigment, the blue color here, I had to add a bunch more of the blue pigment in order to get the saturation of the color that I wanted. Now the blue is mixed with silicone thinner. So by adding a bunch more of the blue pigment, I added a bunch of silicone thinner to that particular color, which changes the viscosity of that particular color. Which is, what's interesting is we're getting this kind of bloom of this blue as it's kind of flowing inside the mold. So there's movement happening inside the mold after it's poured. It's interesting. I mean, if you go back and watch the video, when this was poured, this had one of those nice, flower butts on it. But now we've had this bloom come up, and that's going to have changed how this, well, it's changed the base here. I'm curious what it's going to look like on the inside of the mold. But basically what happened is we've got 3 different viscosities, technically. We have 2 different viscosities. The blue has the lowest viscosity, so it's the one that's going to move around the most. The yellow and the pink technically have more or less the same viscosity, but it's going to vary slightly depending on just how much pigment was added to the yellow versus the pink. So, yeah, that, I'll get back in here, see if I can, but basically what's happening is that our blue pigment has such a low viscosity compared to the others that it's able to move around, while the others are less able to move around. So we end up with this bloom of color. This was poured at almost exactly the same time. It was 10 minutes, well, I guess it's about 20 minutes earlier. So you can see, no bloom there. We might see that bloom also on the pink, white, and blue that I just poured, but it kind of depends. We'll see. Anyway, that's just a little something interesting. All right, all the pours are done. Let me see if our minty fresh guy is. Nope, he's not ready to come out of the mold yet. So scooch that back. All right, if there is nothing else, I'm going to get out of here. All right, well then, no questions, no comments, no nothing. I'm out. All right, everybody. Bye. Yeah, Yosh, I have no idea who you are. Bye.